Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 19. The morning skies of Sunagaku are lit with etheric, blue starlight. The massive winged humanoid glides toward them, and the rising panic of exhausted Sunanin is swiftly seen to by their current security team leader. Settle down. Temari orders stonily. That jutsu belongs to Uchiha Naruto. He must be the aide Konoha sent. Naruto's Susanoo shifts into an upright position above the great wall surrounding the village. It sinks down, slowly dissipating from its armored legs upward until the Konoha shinobi deftly land next to Temari. Sakura takes the lead. Where is the cage? What's his condition? She and Temari are already leaping across flat rooftops. Poisoned by Akasuna no Sasori. We can't measure how much is in his system, but we know it has some unfamiliar metals that attack muscle cells. The only reason that he isn't dead is because he's kept himself awake for the past 36 hours and used his jitten to stop as much of it as he could. Temari spouts clinically. Sakura will tend to the cage. Have there been any further breaches? Naruto delegates the most experienced hand to the most delicate job. None. Temari shakes her head, leaving that we know, of unspoken. We need a report on the combatants, names, abilities, who and how they fought, and where they went. Sakura nearly opens her mouth to protest, to say that the cage is the immediate concern, but Temari beats her to it. How can you say that right now? My father and brother are dying and our village is in shambles. You were warned. Naruto snarls furiously, making Sakura jump, and something unpleasant rakes across her shoulders. Tsunade notified you well in advance that the Akatsuki was mobilizing. How many were there? 50. 100. How many shinobi did the Akatsuki enlist to capture the Ikibi? Naruto. Guy tries to quell his rage. Temari swallows in discomfort, refusing to look back at him. Naruto's brow twitches and his next question is accompanied by a low growl. Where is the cage? So something in this situation might be salvaged. He practically spits out. Medical wing. In the tower. Temari stutters out with fear tinging her quiet voice. Sakura. Go on ahead. Guy, I need you to be their bodyguard. Make sure that they're safe in case the Akatsuki comes back to put the village in more chaos and make it harder to regroup. Understood. Guy nods, perhaps unwilling to separate from his students but understanding that Naruto is Konoha's premier expert on matters relating to the Biju. Guy can protect, Naruto can search for clues. Besides, Team Guy are equipped with radios. They'll be able to spread out and do welfare checks on each other through code. The rest of Team Guy, I want you to investigate the battle site. Question witnesses and try to determine the combat capabilities and numbers of the assailants. I'll do some external recon, and we'll meet at the tower in 3 hours unless you conclude your investigation sooner. Move out. Yes, Captain. The Konoha shinobi chorus. As they fan out, Naruto makes his way to the nearest messenger aviary. The distinct lack of strong chakra makes the birds easy to find in the wasteland that is Sunagaku, given the lack of many domesticated animals. He strolls past the Sunanin inside, and they are too fearful to question what he's doing. Fusekoi. Densant malfeasance, contagion. Most of the hawks and small birds appear to take on Naruto's Rinnegan. Will you make the voice go away? The weak Jinchuriki asks him quietly, nested in the mouth of his explosive bird. Quote. Yeah, kiddo, Deidara confirms, although uneasily. The sealing ritual is only just beginning when Zetsu decides it's a good time to inform Deidara and Sasori what to expect. Konoha has deployed Uchiha Naruto. I'd concentrate if I were you. We're well hidden, but don't underestimate that man. Fantastic. Deidara gripes sarcastically, and I thought it was going smoothly. The Jinchuriki didn't put up much of a fight. Neither did the cage. Sasori's gravely puppet voice growls out, on his respective mark. The sealing will continue as planned. Pain cuts through the chatter. And when he finds us, Deidara challenges. We'll be finished by then. Do not engage him in combat if it can be helped. Get away from the site. I have prepared a measure to ensure that even he will be delayed by. You will have your time to escape. Like I can trust you, Deidara doesn't care much for the organization, and the high he'd gotten from the freedom to practice his art is starting to wane. The fuck was I thinking, joining you cult loons? Oh yeah, they'd kill him if he left. So, what, you gonna get Kabuto to do it? 'Cause it worked out for his master, Deidara speculates, somewhat snidely. Focus. Pain orders instead of elaborating. Moron. Who can stop that guy in his tracks? Is it happening? The Jinchuriki asks softly, as tendrils of red chakra are slowly wrenched from him. Yeah, Deidara replies without looking, not wanting to look at the pitiful kid. I'm gonna die. Yeah, Deidara repeats. The chakra spools out of him quicker. I can finally sleep. Deidara can't stand to look at him. He spouts off the rhetoric that Pain and Zetsu share instead, not wanting to lie to the kid in his last moments. You're gonna be part of a world where you can sleep as much as you want. One that you can be happy and have everything that you need. Why are you letting me be part of this world? Gaara asks, eyes fogged with exhaustion. Quote, I don't think anyone deserves to be left behind like that, Everyone gets to be happy in the new world, No one wants me, Gaara states factually. Kiddo, you don't have to worry about who wants you anymore. From here on, it's about the people that you want. Save me a seat wherever you end up after this, I'm probably gonna get killed with these assholes anyway. Deidara derides. Okay. Gaara surrenders his will entirely. In the next world. He puts his swirly orange mask down and wipes the moisture built up in the humid lab from his face. It lands next to Kabuto's glasses, now redundant and kept merely as a memento. Heading out soon, Kabuto asks benignly, immersed in synchronizing the necessary Kekkei Genkei with the blood of his new subject. I have some business with a clanmate of mine. Do keep on your guard. Obito stretches his back out languidly after being hunched over microscopes and test Zetsu all night. Of course, no mask. The truth of my identity will play an important role in stirring up Konoha internally. It's time I shed Madara's skin, so to speak. Leader Sama will not be so appreciative of the truth. Kabuto muses, actually unconcerned. Obito's lips twitch into a crooked, cruel smirk. There is only one thing that matters when it comes to controlling shinobi. Darkness. In darkness lies the truth that the lost souls of this world only care for power. He will fold before me as he always has, be my name Tobi, Madara, or Uchiha Obito. These structures grew organically with the advent of chakra in our race, and it has led to easily manipulable darkness in the hearts of man. A concept that butts heads with the logical part of the human mind. They revile their tools of war and their heroes when their use is not apparent, and yet still tolerate them on a base instinct guided by fear of the strong. Thirsting for peace but desiring conflict, leading to pointless suffering to the innocent. The threads of fate will be severed in this world. They wouldn't have to fear. They wouldn't have to desire power. They will all be happy, and the cycle will never start anew, ever again. It doesn't matter who becomes the savior, so long as the world is rescued from its suffering. The people need to be saved. And Obito is going to maximize his chances of the dream coming true. Exploiting a bit of darkness here and there is a means to an end to bring in a final, glorious light. A thrum of excitement builds up in him, and in a twisting distortion, whirls away to do his part in guiding the world to peace. Come with me, Kabuto. Naruto has quite a bit on his plate as it is. I see an opportunity to throw him off. You know that your preliminary procedures don't make you that much stronger, don't you? You're better off staying here and getting ready to have your real flesh and bone regrown. Ah, but you did say that being exhausted would likely facilitate the spreading of the Mangekyo and Rinnegan enzymes through my body, did you not? Kabuto shrugs, throwing on his Akatsuki coat. So long as you're careful, Obito. You're surprisingly compatible with the planned experiment. I'd hate to have to start from scratch. Seeing through many pairs of disconnected eyes is slightly disorienting, but he gets used to it quickly. His genjutsu spreads from the hawks and into local fauna, releasing the birds from his control. Rabbits, foxes, parrots, owls and the like. Anything mobile enough to scout the terrain from this distance. Surely we didn't pass them on the way. Naruto thinks, discovering a general cone away from Sunagakure towards Kawa no Kuni, where any animal that he is controlling would simply die without warning. Although his Rinnegan allows him to see through their eyes, he is limited by the senses and bloodline capabilities of what he's controlling and can't sense chakra with a natural species limited chakra accessibility. Kawa no Kuni is right between Suna and Konoha, how could he have missed anything when they came through? Unless, the Akatsuki already have their secure sealing site, hidden under a powerful barrier to avoid detection from sensory jutsu. Naruto scowls, a twitch plaguing his brow as he tries to contain his anger. It took 12 hours to get here flying at his top speed, and the messenger hawk delivering a backup request to Konoha had taken a full day, plus the 2 days it had taken for Suna to finally send a message that they'd been invaded. It could already be too late and the Akatsuki are closer to their goal. He releases all of the animals under his control from the genjutsu and leaps away to the cage tower, leaving behind bewildered bird keepers. 3 hours of standing perfectly still and staring off into nothing would probably unsettle most normal people. Sensing that Team Guy hadn't finished their information gathering but Guy himself is standing guard vigilantly over Sakura, he decides to get any information about the patients that he may have garnered. What's the cage and his son's condition? Declining. Quickly, Sakura is trying to divide her attention between them both but Guy trails off. Naruto nods at him with certainty, making his decision already. Sakura, you're to focus on the cage alone. Ignore the boy. Kankuro will die if he's not given the same attention. Temari protests with wide and fearful eyes, turning to Sakura. You have to work on them both. Sakura disregards her wordlessly. Temari's pleading visage becomes disheartened. Naruto rolls his eyes and makes a hand sign. Moku Bunshin no Jutsu would clone. 2 Narutos separate from his main body. There. One will try and save this Kankuro, and the other will assist Sakura. They can communicate telepathically, so what one learns can be actively applied to the other patient. But make no mistake, the boy is not our priority, and our time is running low as it is. As soon as Team Guy gets back with their findings, we're leaving and your medics will have to pick up the slack if you want either of them to live. Ohaho. An Uchiha who knows Iryo ninjutsu. Rare indeed. A distinct aged woman's voice chuckles mirthlessly. Chio Basama. Temari dips her head immediately. Naruto pointedly ignores the hag, and sets on Guy again. Did you learn anything more about this Sasori and his accomplice? Akasuna no Sasori is a famous puppet master, but his role in battling the Jinchuriki was limited. He infiltrated the village on foot and unnoticed before engaging Kazekage Rasa and Kankuro in battle at the same time that his accomplice found the Ikibi Jinchuriki. Sasori was branded a missing nin for the murder of the Sandame Kazekage, who was considered the strongest Kazekage to date. I wasn't able to gather any information about the other Akatsuki member. Guy's observations are limited in detail, but the broad sweeping truth that Sasori was capable of killing the most powerful Kazekage is something useful at least. I may have to go ahead, it could already be too late. You'll need to take over here, it'll be at your discretion when to leave. Naruto points out, probably needlessly. I'm counting on you. Not to worry, Naruto-kun. Guy gives a mighty pose for his thumbs up. I'll have my team explain their findings to your most youthful clone-kun. And don't fret, I will protect Sakura-chan with my life. Naruto smiles for the first time since the mission started. I see why Kakashi considers you to be his closest friend. He dashes away as Guy collapses to his knees dramatically. Kakashi. Guy pumps his fist up, looking unnecessarily emotional. Temari and Chio look on with disgust. There is surprisingly little wreckage from a fight between 2 powerful shinobi. A few crumbled buildings here and there, the residence of the Jinchuriki though, has essentially been reduced to dust. It's on a far-flung corner of the village, inconspicuous and not anywhere near where the Kazecage's family lives. As if by explosive detonation, there is rubble fanning out from what was once the Jinchuriki's home. Whatever did this has to be far more powerful than the average explosive tags, even used in conjunction with dozens of them. The fight must have been settled quickly, but there are too few people that are actually willing to give any information as to what occurred. A Jinchuriki should have put up more of a fight. Neji is frustrated by the lack of compliant spectators to the abduction of the Jinchuriki. Good lady, I implore you. This is most vital for the ongoing security of your village. Lee pleads. No one wants that monster back. The young woman spits out, child in arm and turns her back to them instantly. You are still in danger. Neji states firmly, stopping the mother in her tracks. Do you think they won't come back to finish this village off while your strongest shinobi are incapacitated or missing? This is not a matter of who wants your Jinchuriki back, your village needs the help of every citizen who can see and talk, or else you may find yourself in worse danger than just a couple of strong shinobi hunting down one person. Leave her be, Konoha shinobi, her husband retorts. We're safe with that demon gone. Neji breathes out a small sigh, pursing his lips in annoyance. All right then, so what do we know? Shinobi casualties are minimal, with the exception of Keisuke-sama and Kankuro-san. Lee nods with his eyes closed, as if he'd just revealed a great mystery. Gaara-san probably didn't fight back, or at least he got captured before he knew what was going on. Only 2 Akatsuki members, one took care of Keisuke-sama and Kankuro-san, while the other came here like he knew exactly where Gaara-san would be. A synchronized attack that only lasted about 20 minutes. Tenten gives what she knows, or at least her informed guess. His residence was the only site where damage has been observed. Neji mutters in thought, but the damage in that isolated spot is still significant. The building has been completely leveled. Tenten provides her professional assessment. It was a single explosion. Explosive tags are too weak to do that much with a single charge. I think it was ninjutsu, but there are no excess boulders or moisture before they dissipate and become natural energy. I'd say wind, but the amount of force needed to flatten that building with futon would have had to do more collateral damage than it did. Wind's strength is meant to be its precise cutting ability, not a direct gust. If we're going by the general rule that enemy shinobi use, testers, first to gauge how much resistance their opponent is going to use if they're unsure of their strength, then it has to be some kind of explosion-based jutsu, probably a Kekkei Genkai. Lee trails uncertainly. They can explode stuff, Kekkei Genkai, but might not be. The unfortunate crux of it. They hadn't learned anything substantial besides that there hadn't been much of a struggle, and that there were only 2 infiltrators. Let's just report back. Maybe Naruto Dono can make sense of this. Neji claims, though unsure. It's nearly been 3 hours. If no one wants to help, then screw him. We have places to be. Tenten wrinkles her nose snidely. Wait, please. An elderly man calls out, desperate and weak. I saw them. The ones who kidnapped Gaara-sama. Team Guy all but surrounds the old man. His squinty eyes are surrounded by the biggest eyebrows they'd ever seen. The other one that wasn't Sasori, he used the Bakuden Kekkei Genkai. It is unique, I only saw it once in my youth as a shinobi against Iwagakure. The old man coughs, almost ancient lungs not keeping up with what he wanted to say. Lee offers him the canteen in her pouch and gestures for him to sit on a knee-high wall. Oh, thank you dear boy. My name is Ebizo. Ebizo takes a tiny sip, and to the trained eye it is deliberate. A result of a desire to conserve water in the harsh desert. Ebizo-san, could you please continue? Yes, that man, he used this Bakuden with clay from pouches, he turns them into birds that explode. He flew around on a giant one and carried poor Gaara-sama away. I've never heard of such a power before. Neji frowns in thought. Bakuden is not a rare Kekkei Genkai in Tsuchi no Kuni, but that young man used it in a most strange way. Perhaps as a criminal, he could be listed in your bingo books. Ebizo suggests earnestly. We don't keep bingo books, but Naruto Dono might. Neji nods to Lee and Tenten, ready to speed off. Please, Ebizo pleads. Gaara-sama has led a lonely and sad life. I beg of you, please do your best to rescue him. He deserves the chance to live as a human being, not a monster. We will do everything in our power to stop the Akatsuki. Neji's words are careful, uncertain that Gaara can be saved but understands that the Ikibi being taken is a huge risk in itself. Ebizo nods shakily, handing the water back to Lee. Please rest, Ebizo-jisan. Lee takes a liking to him and wraps frail old fingers back around the canteen. Your help is greatly appreciated. Good luck, young shinobi. Ebizo smiles, teeth missing and terribly ugly, but heartfelt. Naruto races through the sky using his gravitational power to sling himself, surveying for these clay birds. He stops for a moment, disconnecting his eyes from the Mokuden Bunshin to help him focus. Something is off, not a chirp nor growl of an animal beneath him can be heard. The wind shifts behind him, unnaturally, and he spins his leg in a high-speed kick that would shatter the bones of anyone dumb enough to attack Uchiha Naruto from behind. Only it doesn't connect. It sails through the body like it isn't even there. His sharp eyes catch a world that is fast and deadly silent, and a pair of smirking lips uttering but a few, praising words. The stories of your legendary senses are true after all. One might think you have eyes in the back of your head. Naruto's failed attack leaves him open, and a crushing punch is thrust into his side, knocking him out of the sky. The air is knocked out of him as he sails to the ground. The whirl of space does not stop as the assailant weaves a single tiger seal. Kaden. Bakufu Ranbu, Blast Wave Wild Dance. The stream of dense flame is blended into a vortex. Naruto weaves a handful of signs that he copied from Jinpachi and Kiri. Sweden. Suiryuden, Water Dragon Bullet. Naruto exhales a torrent of water, manipulating it to match the firestorm point to point. Naruto keeps going, even as he nears the ground. The mist created by the battling jutsu is swept away by the gentle breeze, leaving naught but a sinking cloud. The attacker is nowhere to be seen. Naruto creates a pair of wooden stakes in his left hand, and charges a Rasenshuriken in his right. He tosses the stakes into the sky, and slings the Rasenshuriken into the ground where he senses his enemy has moved to. Sunagaku. The twin Mokuden Bunshin start, alerting Sakura and Guy. Team Guy, ready up. The Naruto, assisting Kankura orders. We have to leave this to you. The one with Sakura tells the medical staff. You've found the Akatsuki. Guy throws on his backpack, tuning his radio too. Naruto's eyes darken. I've found the man behind them. Guy's eyes widen. We've isolated the metals. Sakura begins with the medics ready to take over for her. They're not at risk of dying from it, but you need to draw it from them slowly. They're gonna be bedridden for a few weeks, but that's all I can do until I get back. Understood. Get ready. Naruto's voice is grave. You're about to be dropped into a war zone. Might I hitch a ride, so to speak? Chio asks. Sasori is my grandson, he is my responsibility. Another body to throw in the way wouldn't hurt. Naruto agrees. Chio smirks at his cheek. Dai Kawarimi no Jutsu, greater substitution. The group vanishes, leaving behind two sticks. Kawa no Kuni, northwest. Limbo. Hoken consecration. The air itself seems to freeze around Guy and the assembled team. They're in a huge crater with even the dust suspended and timeless. Space-time ninjutsu. Chio identifies quickly. Guy notices half a body sticking out of the ground, clad in Akatsuki attire. He swings his nunchaku at the head immediately, only for it to sail through without harming the man. Genjutsu. An apparition. He can become intangible, but my jutsu is holding him still for a few seconds. He can't hit you and be intangible at the same time, you need raw speed to land a hit. Naruto explains quickly. My space-time jutsu doesn't completely nullify his. That's the Sharingan. Sakura stammers on seeing his features. This man. Guy looks at Naruto. Focus for now, finding the Jinchuriki is your priority. Guy hardens his resolve. The man is eerily familiar, but he cannot sacrifice the fate of the Jinchuriki to chase fascination and curiosity. Senpo. Hakugeki no Jutsu, Sage Art, White Rage. Another voice calls out. Senpo. Naruto mutters in confusion. Guy reflexively looks down. He knows from spars with Kakashi that it makes it more difficult for a user of the Sharingan to fight if they can't look him in the eyes. Naruto does not, and the brightest flash he's ever witnessed in the middle of the day blinds the Uchiha. Arg. Naruto shields his eyes. Chio covers her eyes with the long sleeve of her cloak. Team Guy and Sakura were looking the other way in the first place. Don't turn around. Guy orders desperately. With his eyes shut, Naruto makes a tiger sign. Kaden. Hijingaku no Jutsu, hiding in dust and ash. Thick smoke blots out the unbearable light in Naruto's little safe spot, and said Uchiha uses the opportunity to Sogo Kawarimi, mutual substitute the rest of the squad away and into the woods. Guy notices that the trees are shaking, but they're far enough away that this light and sound attack can't reach them. Keep going. One of the Moku Bunshin orders. I'll give you time to get to the ceiling site. You're gonna be looking for a barrier. I'll join you as soon as I can. The clones each use snake signs and begin transforming into massive, humanoid Mokuden jutsu. Good luck, Naruto-kun. Guy all but salutes. Naruto. Sakura tries to reason, but Naruto won't have a bar of it. I'm not useless, even without my sight. Go, Sakura. It was good to see you again, Guy. The mysterious Uchiha waves, suddenly on a large branch. Guy ignores him and dashes away with the group, but the thought sticks with him. What do you mean, again? Reunions are so awkward. Obito shrugs carelessly, even as a massive arm punches through him and destroys the tree he's standing on. You've grown up since I held you in my arms and threatened to kill you in front of Sensei. Getting married. I'm not brave enough to face that. It's enough to make a grown man cry. You mean to say you didn't dry up when your little girlfriend got run through by Kakashi? Naruto snarks. Idiot boy. A twitch in his brow, but no more. Insulting a man who lost his childhood crush. Low blow. Naruto, your parents are rolling in their graves. Still hung up on her, huh? I'll be making a tip at Child Protection Services once I get back to Konoha. They'll have guards posted around her grave in hours. Obito gives him an identical glare. Despite their jesting words, there is tangible hatred hanging between them. The silence is killing me. Kabuto interjects. Looking well, Kabuto. Naruto compliments, not taking his eyes away from Obito. Look good, feel good, Naruto-kun. Kabuto preens, purple sage markings around his eyes helping the yellow and slitted pupils stand out. Obito can practically see the cogs turning in Naruto's head. Naruto isn't going to waste time, he's going to act fast and efficiently. Kamui, giant shuriken sling from his Sharingan. Naruto does not dodge, only summoning his Susanoo to bat them away and deliver an crushing slash at the same time. Bright blue chakra streaks across the ground, towards Kabuto rather than Obito. Kabuto only cartwheels out of the way, barely using any signs as he does so. Senpo. Muki Tensai inorganic reincarnation. Hoken. Naruto freezes Kabuto in place, but Kabuto's jutsu doesn't stop. As if nature itself protests his presence, spears of rock shoot out of the ground, unmelted but appearing malleable. The trees around him and even the air itself closes in on his Susanoo, making it hard to move. The transformed stone erupts from under him, the weak point of an incomplete Susanoo, along with Obito who has chains wrapped around his wrists. Unable to tell if it was a deception, Naruto seems reluctant to use his diva path to blast him away, leaping around the rocks and letting his Susanoo fade so as not to get stuck under the upturned earth. The chains tangle him as Obito slips through. And then Naruto explodes, revealing himself to be an exploding cage bunshin. Obito's strong body keeps him together but the blast rattles him, leaving him with burns. Dense chakra-laced smoke permeates the area again. Naruto's voice echoes from every direction. You didn't think it would be that easy, did you? 4 points, all marked with the same tag. Neji surveys with his Byakugan. What are they teaching you in Konoha? Chio shakes her head in disapproval. The tags are a deception, they're going to be trapped. Use clones to remove them. It's an exercise in keeping your squad. I don't know how to bring down a barrier like this. Naruto's our specialist when it comes to this stuff. Sakura admits. We can't do nothing, Lee exclaims with fiery eyes. Use clones. Chio stares deadpan as she repeats herself. Unfortunately, that would waste quite a bit of chakra that we can't afford to lose against the Akatsuki. Guy shakes his head. I can probably use Naruto's jutsu to substitute all of you to come back here after getting the tags, but that'd require a lot of my chakra. Sakura suggests half-heartedly. And I can supply the chakra that you do lose. I am a medical shinobi. Chio's words are not an offer, but an order. But the question now becomes one of chakra control. Sakura's the best there is with control. Neji affirms. Not entirely trusting of Chio, but knowing that Team Guy would be too valuable, Sakura agrees. Come here, I'll stamp all of you. Tune your radio, and give me one too. I'll bring you back as soon as you hit the tags. Just find me something about the same weight as each of you to make it easier. Guy and Lee immediately smash up the stone cliff side with their bare fists, making a stone each for the team. Sakura marks the rocks with the same stamp as Guy puts the radio on her neck. Here goes nothing. She takes a steadying breath. Kabuto gets some amusement out of Naruto trying to hide in the smoke, sensing that his chakra signature has dimmed. But Sage Mode offers too much an enhancement to his senses. Obito doesn't fare so well but he can look out for himself. He makes a few signs and expands his lungs with his soft physique manipulation. Futon. Teifuika passing typhoon. The smoke is blown away, but the two Mokujin from earlier set upon him. Kabuto allows them to pick him up, and his body stretches unnaturally in response to the attempted dismemberment. Kabuto can feel them siphon his chakra, a natural response for the Mokujin against Senjutsu or Biju chakra. Take as much as you want, Naruto-kun. I have more than I'll ever need. Kabuto informs the constructs, knowing Naruto can see and hear him through them. Obito finds it odd, however, like he's seeing something that Kabuto isn't. And his eyes widen in realization. Stop, Kabuto, Obito shouts, using his Bakufu Ranbu and Kamui combination jutsu. The precise vortex weaves around Kabuto, punching holes through the constructs that didn't so much as expand in response to the inundation of chakra. Ha 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 ha, Naruto cackles maniacally from above. Kabuto curses, having been so focused on the ground that he didn't attempt to feel the sky. So this is what Senjutsu chakra feels like. Naruto gives a wicked, menacing smile. Obito freezes, though not by Naruto's jutsu. No, it appears he has an inkling that they've made a mistake. Kabuto feels Naruto's chakra, the tiniest portion of Senjutsu resides in his body and will dissipate shortly if he doesn't use it. Not enough to be engaged in Sage mode, but enough to enhance a single jutsu. I must thank you, Kabuto. I'd been struggling to figure it out on my own, but now I've got the feeling for it. He's been trying to learn Senjutsu alone. Behold and despair. Naruto's voice is quiet, but Kabuto hears it all too well with his enhanced hearing. A great shadow encompasses them. Then a second, and a third. The clouds part in response. The sun is blotting out. I believe we've dawdled long enough. Obito drawls. Kabuto doesn't think that he can survive that. Obito, perhaps, but being squishy enough to survive impact will not help him shrug off 3 meteors off of his body to find sustenance. It was a pleasure to see you, Naruto. Obito lies and nearly grinds his teeth to do so. Do not think that I will wait patiently as you grow in power. You have your match in me, and I will sever the fate of this world. You will die trying in glorious battle. Naruto promises. Obito whirls them away. Sakura feels her knees quake, wondering if she's in a bizarre fever dream of stress. The shockwave from the drop causes all the dirt and sand and trees to flail around helplessly from the force. Her radio crackles. Are you seeing the same thing I am? Tenten screams. I thought it was genjutsu. Surely that isn't possible. Lee sounds panicked. They fled. That was a jutsu that Naruto used. Neji confirms, evidently with his Byakugan. We're out of range, don't fret my students. Guy calls out for reassurance. I have arrived at my tag. In all my years, Chio mutters, looking up at the crashing meteors in awe. Sakura turns to the rocks and prepares to use the Sogo Kawarimi. Anything to look away from whatever the hell Naruto just did. Ready when you are. She speaks into the radio, shakily. Lee in position. Tenten 2. Neji. Ready. Chio is already scaling the boulder, keeping the entrance sealed. Her hand is on the tag, and she stares at Sakura to await the callout. She's quite nimble for an old woman. 3. Guy announces. Sakura weaves the signs slowly, each one on the count so that Chio knows her mark. 2. 1. Rip. Sogo Kawarimi no Jutsu, mutual substitution. All 4 rocks glow with her pale chakra, and are suddenly replaced with each member of Team Guy. She knows that she severely underestimated the amount of chakra it would take given the distance, but she wasn't expecting to feel lightheaded and drop into a near faint. There are spots in her eyes and she barely realizes that she's being moved into an upright position. Well done, young Kunoichi. Chio praises, already transmuting her own chakra into Sakura's. That boulder is still in the way. Neji shakes off the disorientation of being transported suddenly again. I can see inside now. It appears that we might be too late. Not to worry, I'll blow it away with a single punch. Guy cheers. Or he would have, if Naruto didn't land right beside them without a hint that he had even been approaching. We're not here to fight them on their terms, Naruto informs. They have the advantage of preparation and terrain. I'll fix that. By dropping another 3 meteors. Sakura asks weakly. This is not the time for holding back. Naruto states seriously. Maybe something that won't kill us. Tenten suggests rather awkwardly. Relax. Naruto says languidly, putting everyone on edge as he strides in front of them. He should not be in a good mood after fighting two members of the Akatsuki that he had to do that crazy shit to get rid of. Sorry for disturbing you. Naruto's smirk betrays his polite words. Shinra Tensei. Not unlike the shockwave from the meteor shower, Naruto's jutsu levels the hideout in its entirety, including a good portion of land that used to be behind it, leaving nothing but a storm of dust in its wake. Feeling somewhat rejuvenated by Chio but still shaken by the sheer power that Naruto can control, Sakura observes the gaping tunnel under the hideout. They're going to have the advantage after all. Sakura feels herself get picked up by Naruto's Susanoo once more, even as he launches a tiny black orb into the sky. Just in case. Terrible idea, by the way. Deidara complains, throwing another handful of exploding spiders to cave in the walls once Konoha comes running. Zetsu informed them that they could escape the same way the Geto Mazo had burrowed its way to them. Something about it being connected with nature and being able to move it at will and other nonsense that he didn't understand. Neither he nor Sasori know where the huge tunnel even leads if there's a way to escape, but it's better than fighting Uchiha Naruto and Might Guy. Shut up, Deidara, Sasori growls. We have little choice. Just saying. Say less. They're nearing pitch darkness in their little halfway mark. It's tempting just to pop a few explosions to see how much it would echo. And keep your juvenile jutsu for when Konoha follows us. Deidara nearly pouts. You just don't understand fine art, It's barely a moment before etheric, blue light starts to illuminate the tunnel. Ah, shit. Deidara jumps back onto his bird with the Jinchuriki's corpse nestled in its mouth. He pops another one for Sasori to ride. Time it right, Sasori commands. You don't need to tell me, I know this stuff much better than you do. They're flying as fast as his art will allow, but the light blue Susanoo chases them with its wings wrapped around itself to fit in the tunnel and dives after them faster than anything he's seen before. Damn it, Deidara curses. Sasori no Dana, jump. They both do, and Deidara sends the birds flying straight back up the tunnel with Gaara slung over his shoulder. Here goes nothing, he supposes. Art is an explosion. The tunnel is collapsing around his Susanoo. Ironic that they would try to crush him after he'd tried to do the same against Obito and Kabuto. Unfortunately, it seems that it might work to stop them in their tracks at least. Giant chains sprout from the wings of his Susanoo and dive further into the tunnel, lining the walls. Sekio Torikago, Red Yang Birdcage. A red barrier forms a perimeter along the chains, preventing them from being slowed down. How much chakra do you have, boy? Chio mutters, watching as they spool out and then rejoin the Susanoo like wheels on a cart. The end of the tunnel reveals a valley of rock and crystal. Smatters of light from other entries reflect off of the gems and get magnified into a gorgeous chasm with a small lake. They're on a platform that almost appears as though its purpose was to give them the option to wait and choose which route they wanted to exit from. Did we lose 'em? Deidara gets out, stunned that such a beautiful place could exist underground and untampered. Somehow, I doubt it. A rush of wind from the tunnel is their answer, and they're forced to leap away. The giant blue monster smashes through their platform and leaves a huge backdraft of wind that disturbs their footing. The Susanoo spreads its wings and the 6 giant chains that followed it all smack into the chasm, the only way they had out. The huge red barrier is telling of its strength. There's little they can do now but fight. Nowhere left to run. Naruto taunts, and the fist of his Susanoo throws Team Guy, Sakura and Chio onto what remains of their plateau. It seems I may have to shed this puppet quicker than expected. Sasori does exactly that, leaving pieces of Hirako scattered on the cold ground. Deidara attempts to fly away on another bird, but is smacked back down by invisible force. It seems Naruto would be playing support, even as he maintained control of the arena. Guy, Lee and Tenten surround him, while Sakura, Neji and Chio declare Sasori as their opponent. Can't we just talk this out like civilized folk? Deidara asks sheepishly. Might Guy's eyes harden. I'm afraid that is out of your possible options for as long as you keep Garadono away from us. I thought as much. Deidara sighs. Look, if you don't kill me, the Akatsuki will if I just hand him over. In that case, your efforts at defending yourself from them will be helping them from destroying the world with the power of the Biju. Hey, I don't exactly think this is great either. Deidara snarls. Look at the kid, he wanted to die. That's kinda fucked up, right? Yeah, the Akatsuki is closer to whatever their goal is, but if it's gonna stop shit like this then you can be damn sure I'm gonna help him. I wasn't convinced until I saw how much the kid was suffering. Now I know, and you can be damn sure I'll blow your asses up if you try and stop us now. Stubborn and unyielding, Guy does not bat an eye at what he apparently sees as psychological warfare. Then you choose to fight. And I am certain that your hands are dirtier than ours. Kaden. Goka Meshitsu, Great Fire Destruction. Sasori scales the walls and ducks behind a large stalactite to avoid Naruto's enormous supporting flamethrower. The iron sand of the fourth Cage puppet is not great against the Kaden of the Hyuga, but it's enough to stall all three of them and give him a moment to prepare himself to fight. He'd never attempted to control his own puppet self and another at the same time, but if he's going to die here, may as well take a few of them down with him. Say it was you who stole his corpse. Granny Chio has an epiphany. A useless, mundane one. Sasori is coming to terms with his mortality against power he has never seen before. He looks over at Deidara, who also isn't faring well against his enemies. Might Guy is a force to be reckoned with, his speed as he bounces off the walls is truly something to behold. His moniker suits him well. The little ones are not so frustrating, but still an annoyance when Uchiha Naruto is peppering you with hellfire. They share a discreet nod. There's no returning from this. May as well embrace a little of Deidara's art before they kick the bucket. Deidara flies around the streams of flames and dragon heads that chase him around. He sees a blue chain pick up Gaara by the waist and knows his defense is all for naught. In a blur, Guy knocks him off of his bird and shreds the cloak off of him. He feels his arm tear away from the sheer force of this beast. He slams against the rocks, wounding his back, and he struggles to breathe through the pain. He takes a discreet look at Sasori, whose puppets are beginning to look worse for wear and they hadn't managed to even land a hit against the teamwork of the three against him. Deidara gives him a nod, which is returned. At least they can be eternally remembered as the two men who killed Uchiha Naruto. All of the clay he has is shoved into the mouth on his chest with his remaining arm. It hurts to move, but at least he'll avenge them with this. What are you up to? Naruto senses the upswing of chakra from the moment Deidara started feeding clay to the horrid mouth on his chest. The Bakuden chakra spikes as Deidara's body seems to close in on itself, slowly vanishing and leaving little more than a saturated, black mouth. A suicide attack. Retreat. Naruto draws twin blades that stab into the walls near the separate teams. They run along the flat edge of the swords and Naruto allows them passage into his Susanoo. What's happening? Sakura asks, disheveled but unharmed. Chio looks like she's seen better days but sports no wounds. The Akatsuki were thoroughly outmatched this time. He's gonna blow the place sky high. We have the Jinchuriki, it's time to bail before he kills all of us. Naruto deactivates the barrier so he can fly deeper into the chasm and claps his hands together. Shibaku Tensai. The earth shakes and it appears that the team remembers what his little orb was for earlier. Limbo. Hoken. Naruto looks back and freezes the floating, glowing mouth for as long as he can. Naruto-kun, should we not flee further? Guy questions. Too far, we don't have time. Neji denies after checking around with his Byakugan. It's fine, we're getting out of here. I just need a second to weaken the surface so we can break through from here. Air. Tenten squirms, pointing at the glowing orb. Calm down, Naruto orders, readying his blades. An excited voice echoes from Deidara's jutsu. Art is an explosion. Blinding white light erupts from it. Naruto swings at the ceiling of the save, shattering it open and allowing more rock to be drawn upwards. Naruto flies towards sunlight, allowing the force of his jutsu to drag him up quicker. The team is treated to the sight of Deidara's jutsu erupting from under them as well. This is bad, Tenten screams. Naruto manages to ignore her this time, and flies directly into the rock satellite and lets his Susanoo get sealed inside of it. They are submerged in darkness, the only light being that of the Susanoo, and the final flash of Deidara's jutsu as it slams into them. Straining to maintain his Susanoo under the pressure and continue to form the satellite, Naruto braces for more of the explosion. Rock continues to rise up from the rubble and form a greater shield around them. The sound penetrates through any crack that it can. After an excruciatingly long time, the team feels the pressure ease up and finally breathe a sigh of relief. Mission failed, but at least they're still alive. Naruto lands them in a clearing after inspecting the explosion site. Poor boy. Chio strokes Gaara's greasy, untamed red hair. You precious child, you didn't deserve this life. You should have had better. I should have given you better. I'm guessing the Kazekage kept trying for children until he got one with Jiten. Naruto asks glumly, a child compatible with the Jiten of the Ikibi. More or less. Chio sighs. And look at how he was treated. Sunagaku's understanding of the Biju is outdated and it has reflected poorly on an innocent boy. I was the one who sealed it in him. I doomed him. Unfortunately, death will be a mercy to him for this life. Quote. Yes. Chio hesitates, but ultimately agrees. Suna Nin began to flood the clearing as backup. Kazekage-sama and Kankuro-sama are recovering quickly, thanks to you Sakura Dono. Sakura waves them off, feeling exhausted and emotionally drained. I hope you got some closure today, old woman. Naruto addresses Chio. No, I still feel as hollow as I did before. Perhaps more. Naruto frowns. Chio looks up at him. Safe travels, Uchiha Naruto. Your efforts here today will not be ignored. I appreciate yours. And Konoha's assistance greatly. Naruto nods curtly. With the Kazekage recovering, they have no purpose in being here. Too much was lost today. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Chapter 20. Trust. The gates of Konoha peer over the horizon through the dense foliage. Naruto landed them a short distance away, and the walk back is somewhat awkward. The serenity of Konoha's surroundings do little to ease the tension. Hawks cry and bugs chitter, but the noise, it seems, is drowned out by each other's thoughts. Naruto-kun, that man. Guy's question is tentative and uncertain, as if he believes he's been led on to something that was meant to be a secret. It kind of was. Naruto hadn't counted on Obito revealing himself like that, but the cat is out of the bag now. Guy's curiosity has been piqued, and even if Naruto himself doesn't say anything, Tsunade probably would in a potentially misguided attempt to have Guy keep Kakashi in check. Once they're back in the village, Naruto is going to have to be careful with how to reveal this information to Kakashi. Kakashi is trustworthy, however. He wouldn't skip out of the village to go hunt down his supposedly dead friend, especially when he has a wife and a child, and his students who defer to him when they need it. Naruto is more worried about the ramifications this secret would have on their relationship. But he can't hide this forever. If it harms his friendship with Kakashi, then so be it, but better to have one of Konoha's best warriors prepared to fight than in emotional turmoil when the truth comes out. Telling Guy the full truth now could backfire, but there is still a chance that he would have the Junin in his corner if he can explain early before rumors start screaming across the village. He wasn't lying, he does know you. He might even have been your friend at some point. Naruto reveals cautiously. Team Guy and Sakura listen in without any subtlety. I don't recall being close with many Uchiha throughout my life, Naruto-kun. Guy leans in, eyes sharp. His name is Uchiha Obito. Guy stops in his tracks. Naruto doesn't. He keeps up with his long strides before Guy leaps in front of him, posture imploring Naruto to say otherwise. That's impossible. Obito is dead. My grandfather rescued him. Naruto states without preamble. Kakashi knows that Obito died for certain. Yes, well, turns out an old man with a penchant for cheating death and prolonging the life of another, also has a talent in bringing people back from the brink. Obito would have come back. Naruto stops and takes a breath. He can feel the lower-ranked members of their team looking at them, possibly confused. Possibly awed that Guy is willing to contest Naruto after the havoc he caused, possibly simply curious about this, Obito, that has Guy wound up. People can change, especially an Uchiha who knows what love is and what it's like to lose it. Madness is an ongoing problem I'm trying to exterminate from our genes. Kakashi deserves to know. Guy cuts him off, sternly. Kakashi needs to be kept far away from Obito, even if he does deserve to know. That is not for you to decide. Obito was his friend who saved him, and he has the right to have closure now before it's too late. He murdered my parents, Naruto shouts, finally snapping and releasing the stranglehold on his chakra. The ground cracks under the pressure and they recoil from his presence. Obito is a psychopath trained by my grandfather to replace him. He released the Kyuubi from my mother and caused the damn near destruction of Konoha. He is the one who inducted a clan-murdering monster into his organization to do the same thing to everyone, and he is the one trying to upend all of society and turn it into nothing but a vat for broken souls. He is a problem child from my clan, who is now rampaging across the world to destroy it and everything that anyone ever loved. Guy is stupefied into silence, but Naruto doesn't let up and pent-up words fly from his mouth. I've been training and fighting and evolving for the sake of fixing these mistakes that my grandfather set into motion. I've been trying to correct the 1,000-year weakness that has plagued my clan that allowed this mess to be possible in the first place. Every damn thing I do is to protect Konoha and the rest of the world from eternal darkness brought by our hands. Our legacy will be one of nothing but hatred and fear, all because Uchiha are born broken. This disaster is my responsibility to fix before it consumes the entire world, so don't you dare go lecturing me about closure and deservedness. Naruto. Kakashi already has a target painted on his back, just because he has a fraction of Obito's full power. He has a wife and daughter that don't deserve to go without him, and he has worked too hard for his happiness to just have it extinguished by one of my kind. He guided me in my youth, taught me what it meant to be a man and not just a shinobi. It is my responsibility to protect him in turn, from an foe that he cannot possibly conquer. We are the problem. He's just a man getting caught in our chaos. I've underestimated you, Uchiha Naruto. Neji thinks, watching as Guy puts a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Honor. It's about honor. Naruto had always been something of an enigma to him, and it had always been hard to distinguish who Naruto really is behind his reputation, behind his status as someone who stands with the greatest shinobi that have ever been produced by Konoha. He puts up a front of being a clown sometimes, making dark or lurid jokes, but it's quite clear now just how seriously he's taking the conflict with the Akatsuki. What they're up to has him worried, and it apparently involves the Uchiha clan to a great extent. The leader of the Uchiha clan is taking full responsibility for his wayward clanmates, and it has made Neji respect Naruto even more. He could claim that it has nothing to do with him, two people from before his time turning the world upside down. But instead of letting them drag his name through the mud, he's being proactive about maintaining an identity of positives to the eyes of everyone who watches the Uchiha clan. Hiashi had gone on explosive rants with many of the Hyuga elders 3 years ago when Naruto hadn't just revealed his innate power, but also sealed the Nibi into Sasuke. His uncle believed that it was a power play to secure a higher position in the village, stating things like the Uchiha clan now owning a Biju for the sake of terror, and revealing forgotten powers at the Chunin exams in front of hundreds of potential clients, including powerful nobles. But Neji had been there that day. Naruto sealed the Nibi in Sasuke because he had no choice. Naruto hid his own power for evidently a good reason, because Neji can blatantly see that Hiashi and the Hyuga clan's ego is too great, and they would have wanted orders that Naruto would keep the Sharingan to himself and never reveal it for the sake of letting the Hyuga be the premier dojutsu wielders in the village. Everything Naruto has done has been for the good of himself, the Uchiha clan, and the village, be it intentional or otherwise. Naruto has a gift for making things work, despite strenuous circumstances. No Hyuga has ever been capable of doing the things Naruto can do, and yet, Neji feels that Naruto's ability to hold himself back and just lord it over everyone in the village is a quality that the Hyuga also lack. His clan does it to each other. What would happen if given the power to control an entire village? Naruto has earned his support through all of this. He has proven himself to be a responsible and trustworthy asset to Konoha, far beyond what Neji's preconceptions led him to believe. Neji will support Naruto's efforts going forward. It's the least he can do for the man using all of that godlike power for the sake of his village. Naruto Dono, I won't forgive myself if I were to let you face these terrors alone. Neji announces to him, you have my allegiance when it comes to this matter. Neji can't ignore his own problems, but the Akatsuki seems too big to ignore too. Naruto seems caught off guard by the proclamation, but all of Team Guy reaffirm that he's not in this alone. He shouldn't be. Tsunade-sama, go home. Shizune's voice orders loudly from behind the Hokage's office door. No. Tsunade whines miserably. Naruto's confusion is abated when he opens the door and sees Tsunade keeled over a bin. Tsunade looks weakly at him before retching. Tsunade-sama. Sakura gasps, moving forward. Are you all right? She's fine. She just needs to go home. Shizune shrugs, evidently knowing that this isn't a rare occurrence for women in this condition. Go. Work to do. Tsunade protests again. She needs to hear our mission report. Naruto adds, and Tsunade looks at him gratefully for a second before he knocks her down again. You can take her home after that. I'll take over her duties until she's ready to come back. Tsunade-sama should really be resting. I know that, but this is something that can't wait. I need you to get me a skilled Yamanaka, a scroller from the barrier corps, and start convening the elite level Junin in the village for a briefing. Sasuke and Jiraiya too. Is it really that serious? Shizune mutters, almost rhetorically. Tsunade grabs the younger woman's arm. Do as he says, Shizune. Please. Naruto turns to Sakura and Team Guy. All of you stay as well. Your exposure to that man will serve as a second account to my report and help impress how important the next few weeks will be. As you say, Naruto Dono. Neji affirms, and the group hears the flittering of Anbu as they dash away to assemble everyone. Sasuke is alert after being given emergency summons to the assembly hall in the Hokage Tower. He wisely decides not to approach Naruto, who appears to be receiving a mind reading through Yamanaka Inoichi's hand, while the blonde man's other hand rests on the forehead of a scroller that he remembers seeing in the barrier division. Any word yet? He hears Yuhi Kurenai ask Kakashi-sensei. No, nothing, but I don't imagine anything good. Is Kakashi's observation, obvious though it may be? Sasuke observes as Inoichi recoils away from Naruto, shaking his head as he does so. Your mind is a pain to move through. Inoichi mutters to Naruto. But you got what I was showing you. I did. Would it not have been easier to use genjutsu? Me using that kind of genjutsu on people tends to end with them being catatonic, and I don't know how to scroll memories myself. Ah, Sasuke remembers being subject to Naruto's Tsukuyomi before. Excellent at showing memory in vivid detail, but it had left him exhausted after being pumped with so much of Naruto's dense chakra at once, and that had been when Naruto was taking it easy on him. The scroller sets to work at apparently cataloging Naruto's memory while Inoichi moves on to Jiraiya. Naruto whispers something into Jiraiya-sensei's ear. He sees Sakura and Kakashi subtly making their way to him. Sakura's body language emanates stress, while Kakashi appears to be quite languid as usual. Sakura bursts into nervous whispers to them both. Look, you're gonna hear it, but this is bad. Sakura hisses out quickly. Sasuke, the people after you, they've got someone that even Naruto couldn't kill. Sensei. Calm down, Sakura. Kakashi puts a hand on her shoulder, but Sasuke sees his posture change immediately into ready mode. Attention. Tsunade shouts over the bustling shinobi, although it is comparatively subdued to her usual volume. She looks a bit green around the gills and Sasuke wonders if she's been drinking. Matabi gives an amused huff in his mind, as if she knows something he doesn't. Naruto stands up at the forefront of the room, brushing the bang that covers his eye off of his face and looking all business. Firstly, I didn't prepare this report in advance. This emergency meeting has been called because of the events that just occurred on our mission to rescue the Ikibi Jinchuriki from the Akatsuki. Naruto looks around as the assembly shuffles and maintains silence. We failed. The Akatsuki has successfully captured the Ikibi and the Jinchuriki is dead. By the mandatory process of their advanced Fuinjutsu, the Nibi Jinchuriki must be next. To prevent the Akatsuki from obtaining intel about him, all operations involving Uchiha Sasuke are strictly qualified as S rank. If you hear so much as a murmur about what he's doing, you take that secret to your grave. Fuck. Sasuke tenses, clenching his fists. Indeed. Matabi breathes heavily. The Akatsuki operates in teams of 2 S-rank shinobi. The 2 that captured the Ikibi are now dead, but have been replaced with 2 more powerful members that pose a greater threat to Konoha and the continuation of all life in this world. We'll be reviewing the known members of the Akatsuki now in order to prepare for an inevitable invasion attempt. The barrier corpsman throws up his scroll, one so big that it touches the ceiling. Colored blots of ink rake across it and transition into a clear picture smoothly. Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame come up first. Naruto goes as deep into detail as he can regarding their capabilities before another familiar face appears on the scroll. Yakushi Kabuto, former apprentice of Orochimaru, and master of Senjutsu. His skill in medical ninjutsu is rivaled only by Tsunade. You will see more detail shortly on the display scroll based on my encounter with him on this mission. Naruto takes a deep breath before a boy appears on the scroll, one sporting vivid red hair exactly like Karen's. And his eyes. Uzumaki Nagato, Naruto announces, and the pause is filled with several intakes of air. Possessor of the pair of Rinnegan that once belonged to Uchiha Madara. Inheritor of the Uzumaki life force and chakra strength. We don't know what his current appearance is, but this is what he looked like during the Second Great Shinobi War. Wait just a minute. Jiraiya leaps to his feet. Nagato is dead, and he fought for peace when he was alive. The Geto Mazo, the vessel in which the Biju are sealed in, can only be operated by someone who wields the Rinnegan. Since I was attacked by the true leader of the Akatsuki, I know that he does not possess the Rinnegan. That means that the person using the statue is Nagato, or someone with Senju or Uzumaki blood. Since the statue is locked down and I can't summon it myself, it means that the person who possesses it now must be exceptionally gifted at Fuinjutsu, a kind of mastery that takes decades to accomplish. The Uzumaki clan was renowned across the world for this exact skill, and Nagato was a known survivor of this time and could have received tutelage from his parents or the person that took over training, manipulating him into this organization and protecting him until he became strong enough. He's alive. Jiraiya-sensei sounds shattered and horrified, and his pained whisper echoes. Jiraiya-sensei once told him a story of a boy that inspired his first book. A pupil that held the power of a god, and was lost to war before he could reach his potential. I have a bad feeling. Kakashi murmurs to him and Sakura, and the latter shrinks into herself. Sasuke gets the feeling that the worst has yet to come. Naruto looks at Kakashi from the front. He looks like he's about to regret what he's doing. Play the memory. Dim the lights. The scroll begins to slide. The picture shudders like one of the theater projections they're familiar with. Reunions are so awkward. Your parents are rolling in their graves. Kamui. Wooden constructs. Flames and smoke. The ground moving as though it were clay. Stop. Kabuto. Behold and despair. Meteors fall from the sky. I will sever the fate of this world. Kakashi feels cold. His body refuses to obey him. The man is pale. The man wields the Sharingan. The man has deep scars on the right side of his face. The man is unbelievably skilled and powerful. Uchiha Obito. Kakashi is shaking. He falls to his knees. More words spill from Naruto's cold, clinical mouth. Kyuubi attack. Uchiha incident. Perpetration of civil war. Obstruction of the Aikibi rescue team. He can barely hear Sasuke's scream of denial, of anger, or Sakura's rush to keep him contained. This is a dream, Kakashi says aloud, not even noticing his wife panicking to get him to respond. Kakashi blacks out. Guy wants to leap to Kakashi, but right now. This is a cruel joke. Kurenai stomps up to Naruto. Obito is dead, and Kakashi watched him die. That boy, he was a complete dunce. Not some criminal mastermind. Kurenai. Guy warns sternly. The relevant memories are genuine. Inoichi confirms the worst. Elite Junin are critical thinkers, more often than not. Sometimes, emotions can serve as obstacles when confronted with uncomfortable truths. The split-second decision that Naruto has made to reveal this sensitive information is calculated, but there is always risk, and given that it pertains so heavily to his clan, knowing that it might put him in such a negative light. A stroke of genius. An opportunity has already presented itself for Naruto to control the flow of potential gossip and propaganda against him. Taking the reins as Hokage while Tsunade-sama recovers. This harsh truth may affect his relationships with Kakashi and Sasuke, but by God, if Naruto isn't intelligent enough to abuse every possible avenue he could to ensure that Konoha would not only be prepared for the threats, but that the honor of the Uchiha clan could be redeemed by Naruto's proactive efforts against his own clanmates, both Uchiha and Uzumaki. This manipulation, the political maneuvering, his sheer power, all for Konoha and the world. Guy doesn't like lies or half-truths, but Naruto doesn't do anything of this scale without reason. That took some serious balls, kid. Shikaku praises with keen eyes, and Guy presumes that the man has seen through it for the most part and is still impressed. although he and many other high-ranking shinobi appear slightly pale, and Guy understands it. If it's not for the fact that Uchiha Obito is apparently alive and went from dead last to one of the strongest forces in the world, then probably for the fact that everyone in the room witnessed Naruto fighting from his own point of view. The blurring speeds and scale of his power is terrifying to say the least. It's inhuman, for a man his age to surpass everyone in Konoha. Seeing through the eyes of someone who is inconceivably stronger than them must hammer in the fact that yes, if Naruto is taking this threat seriously, they should be too. I hope you're aware that the next few months are gonna be annoying. Shikaku continues with little flair. I mean it, Tsunade-sama has a talent and years-long efforts to repel all the annoyances that tried to bother her for their own gains, but with fresh blood in the water, they're not gonna be so patient. That's the idea, Nara-san. Naruto looks as though he's about to wink, and Guy sees Shikaku's eyes sharpen ever so slightly. I see. Maybe it's for the best that Tsunade-sama takes a break. She looks a bit unwell. I hope you're ready for what's coming. As Shikaku is ready to turn away and discuss the meeting with his friends, Naruto stops him. Nara-san. Something cold in his voice makes Guy uneasy, although it's not directed at Shikaku. Shikaku stops and straightens. Naruto goes on. Konoha does not have clean hands, and I do not like to admit it. But even in Konoha, there may be undesirables that make this place something unworthy. Your boy indirectly pointed the finger at your clan 3 years ago with some harassment of my teammate with his own. I've been wondering if it was your doing, to get my attention and take a closer peek at what goes on between the clans of Konoha. Shikaku remains silent and thankfully their conversation goes unheard. I don't want pointed fingers, Nara-san. I don't want rumor-mongering and whispers. I want irrefutable proof that does not waste my time. If you have anything, you're welcome to share. But we're too late in the game of another entity to be playing with each other like this. I hope that you understand that subtlety will not get anyone far with me right now. I have bigger ambitions. Naruto takes a few steps up to Shikaku, all but towering over him, and the Nara leader meets his gaze regardless. We are aware, Naruto utters. An overt assistance will go a long way to protecting yours as well. Guy feels like he's going to get a headache with all the bouncing around between subtle and loud. Naruto seems to have this handled for now. Guy hopes that his presence at Naruto's side serves as its own deterrent for naysayers. I'd better check on Kakashi. Or he would, if Kakashi wasn't already in the process of storming over to Naruto. Did you know? The words fly from Kakashi's mouth before he can stop himself, before he can calm down enough to even try and perceive the situation logically. His throat is tight and his vision is blurring in barely controlled emotion, of which he can't identify yet. It comes out as a demand, not a question, but Naruto is wholly unaffected, perhaps having seen this coming, or maybe out of a lack of desire and care to explain himself. No, Naruto's Rinnegan observes him as he denies coolly, and the anger roaring to get out spikes up. Or rather, we only suspected that he might be alive as of a few weeks ago. Tsunade and I compiled intel and guessed that if he hadn't died from natural causes then. You knew his identity. You knew he didn't die. Kakashi interrupts, words clipped in greater rage. Naruto halts, eyelids falling slightly, and Kakashi wonders if all he's going to get is another catered, clinical response. I want the truth, Kakashi demands, and his hand cramps at how tightly his fists are clenched. All eyes in the room are on them, waiting for Naruto to reveal just what the hell is going on. And Naruto just stands there with that calculating expression on his face. Like what he wants to say must be measured to what kind of effect it will garner. Kakashi had been indulgent with him when he was younger, letting him keep his secrets. But this. It's so exhausting. The deathly silence is finally broken. Uchiha Obito was rescued by my grandfather and nursed back to health, for the sake of using Obito's innate potential to achieve Madara's goal posthumously. But Obito was strong-willed, and in order to get him to do what Madara wanted, he had to be broken first. Nohara Rin had the Sanbi sealed in her by my grandfather, and he framed Kurigakure for it. He gives Kiri a little tip that a young Jinchuriki will be easy pickings, and so the girl is forced to decide if she should pretend nothing has happened and that she isn't a walking time bomb that's ready to deploy in Konoha, or if she should sacrifice her life for the good of her village. No. Kakashi lunges at Naruto, pulling the wide-brimmed collar. Obito recovers coincidentally just in time to see one teammate kill the other, beginning his descent into darkness. He abandons everything he ever cared about for the sake of achieving Madara's goal. Kakashi throws a fast and strong punch, raw with emotion. Naruto catches it without so much as a flinch. Guy and Sasuke are holding him back, but there are weapons pointed at him as well. Kakashi-sensei, I know this is hard. But remember that Naruto is in the position of Hokage right now. You can't just fly off the handle at him. Sasuke's strength strains in the face of Kakashi's anger as he tries to deter him without lethal force. You knew this whole time. Kakashi spits out, I should have been told from the start. He was my friend. And what would you have done with that information? Naruto asks, cool as can be. At no point in your life have you been as powerful as Obito was when he released the Kyuubi. He was responsible for the death of the Yondaime. You would have gotten yourself killed, and I don't much feel like explaining to Shizune that you died in the field to someone so out of your league that you're as a genin as to a cage. If I had it my way, you would have never known. I would have killed him already and you would continue living without losing a wink of sleep over it. This mess was founded by my clan, fostered by my clan, and it will continue to tear apart the world until I fix it. It's not about who's going to do anything about it. Kakashi makes an exerted noise of frustration. It's the secrets, Naruto. Maybe I can't do anything about it, but that doesn't mean that I don't deserve to know. And even more so, is that it's you that's keeping everything from me. You've always been my little brother, despite everything, but now with something this big about my life. How can I trust you? Sasuke doesn't think that anyone else sees the tiny movement on Naruto's face, one denoting something that he has never associated with Naruto before. Something uncertain, regretful, and maybe even emotionally frail. You and we are done. Until you learn to trust me, I don't want anything to do with you. Naruto's throat swallows clearly as Kakashi storms away. Shizune chases after him, giving a quick and uneasy look at Naruto as she does so. Go on, Guy, Naruto mutters softly, your friend needs you. Guy does so without hesitation, bumping Naruto's shoulder in what may have been a gesture of comfort. I suppose you want an explanation? Naruto asks rhetorically, expecting a yes. Yeah, but I think you made a hard decision today. Sasuke shoots back, so why don't we just get everything you need done sorted now and I can get my explanation later? Matabi chuckles WRLY in his mind. You certainly have changed, Sasuke-kun. You're right, the village won't serve itself. Naruto agrees, shaking off the clearly uncomfortable nature of Kakashi's words to him. Naruto closes the door of the apartment behind him and makes a beeline for the shower. It's very late by the time he gets home, and the smell of cooking is fresh in his nose. Karen is fast asleep on the table, and Naruto feels exceedingly guilty on seeing her and the food she'd likely started preparing once she sensed his arrival back in Konoha. He pulls up the chair next to her, and the proximity probably sets off her senses enough to rouse her from her light sleep. Naru, hey. Naruto wraps his arm around her when she immediately snuggles up to him. I'm sorry. Who for? For being late. I should have let you know before I tended to everything. Karen raises her head off of him, looking slightly perturbed. Naru, we both know that shinobi crap can get crazy. I'm not mad or anything. Did something happen? Is it the Akatsuki? I failed. I couldn't stop the Akatsuki from taking the Ikibi. Now, they're going to be after Sasuke. Karen takes hold of his hands. You're just one man. You can't determine everything on your own. The world isn't going to stand still and wait for you to solve problems that shouldn't be yours alone in the first place. Chill, let your friends in Konoha help you out a bit. Hell, I'll even take your place on missions if you have stuff to do. And if they can't help you, so what? Get stronger. That's what your Ji-chan did, it's what your Ka-chan and Tu-chan did. If it worked for them then it'll work for you. This woman is a blessing. She knows him in and out. Getting stir crazy. Naruto asks WRLY. I miss traveling around with you, but I want you to know that you're not alone more. I'll see if I can get you a mission. You. What exactly are you gonna be able to do? The Senju Hag does it. Karen asks tiredly, but still inquisitive. I'm kind of Hokage until Tsunade overcomes morning sickness. Cool. Don't worry. I sprayed and wiped the desk to get rid of any old people germs. Oh good. Shizune gently closes the door behind Guy as the three of them step foot in their home. Kakashi is visibly agitated, but he needs them, and does appreciate that Naruto let Guy go to help her out a bit. It's a very sad situation, and honestly, she doesn't blame Naruto one bit. Being raised by such a man as Madara is bound to have long-term, foundational skews to the way one looks at the world and personal matters. At the end of the day, Naruto made a tough call and risked hurting his friendship with Kakashi for the sake of the village. He's depending on the unity of Konoha, a Hokage-like trait. He has proven that he is not his grandfather at great cost. She knows that Kakashi will see things differently sooner or later, but he needs space from Naruto to figure out his feelings about the situation and, more importantly, he's alive. Kakashi whispers brokenly. A long-dead friend is apparently not so dead, and is acting as a mastermind behind a plan to change the world. Kakashi and Guy exchange heated words, and thankfully Minako is being babysat so she wouldn't have to hear her papa and his best friends argue so viciously. Guy, as boisterous as he is, does have a talent for not making things worse than they already are. She'll check on Naruto later, her grown-up little brother. But for now, her place is at her husband's side. I'm far too old for this. Jiraiya lays beside Tsunade in their bed. I know, Nagato has been twisted by this Obito. We speculate so, unless he's acting as his own double agent. Jiraiya rolls over and places a hand on Tsunade's belly. He closes his eyes. This is where my priorities are. But still, I know. She says nothing to the tiny teardrops that escape him. Over the next 2 weeks, Tsunade takes time to explain some of his duties that he hadn't figured out himself yet. He'd been more focused on the delegation of Anbu and internal security. It's gonna be nice having a break. Tsunade exaggerates a stretch, making a perhaps unintentional show of her breasts nearly popping out of her clothing. A hag like you shouldn't be so indecent. Naruto comments idly. Where do I put the mission reports? Your assistants will collect them every 4 hours and place them in one of the storage units. Tsunade gives a dirty look but obliges his question. Unless you tag them with a tassel, that means that the report involves an incident. Green tassels for minor occurrences like client complaints, blue for major incidents, red for total mission failure or any information that might be useful for an ongoing investigation. How long are these mission records kept? 10 years minimum, or indefinitely if it contains anything pertaining to an open investigation. Their conversation is cut short by a knock at the door. A head of red hair pokes in and Naruto smiles. Some brats are here for a mission. She announces boredly. Hey, screw you lady. A boisterous voice protests being called brat. Tsunade smirks. You get some annoying ones right off the bat. Let's see your patience, Naruto. Naruto takes a deep breath as the grating voice of one particular genin permeates the office. Yo. One Sarutobi Konohamaru gives a jaunty wave, his Shire teammates dogging his footsteps along with their sensei, Ebisu. Hokage-sama, Naruto-sama. Ebisu bows politely with his other students. Hey, why are you sitting in her chair? Konohamaru asks noisily. Naruto will be taking over my duties for a little while. I'm a bit ill and I need to be in good condition for an international conference that I'll be attending soon. Tsunade answers instead. I see, very well. Naruto-sama, we would like to pick up a mission. Ebisu accepts the temporary change easily. Good that you're here this early in the morning. We have some good D ranks that need to be taken up. Naruto pulls the rack with fresh missions over on the desk. Boo. Konohamaru announces his displeasure and gives a thumbs down. Naruto ignores him and begins reading from a few scrolls. The communal gardens in the marketplace area need to have their ponds cleaned, along with the fountain pumps. Tora the cat is on the loose again. An elderly woman needs some home maintenance done in residential area B. No and no. Give us a cooler mission. Konohamaru-kun, Ebisu chides. Your mission record isn't substantial enough that I can justify giving you a C rank. You have your pick of missions from these ones. Come on, how are we gonna get a good mission record if you don't put us on good missions? Your mission record includes your statistics as reported by your sensei. Your team works well together, but well enough for a potential life-risking mission if it goes wrong. Keep doing your D ranks and working hard, and you'll have your C rank in no time. Naruto explains boredly. We're not gonna get better if we don't do better missions. Konohamaru pouts. D-rank missions are an essential part of Konoha's shinobi training system. D-ranks not only teach young genin to work together as a cohesive unit, but affords them time to catch up with their peers if they have been found lacking. In addition, shinobi that can stay on active duty past the age of 30 are a rare commodity. These missions teach genin how to be normal and functional people when their ability to do missions weakens, so that they can still contribute to the village and look after themselves. To disrespect the D rank is a disrespect to those who need you to do them and yourself, to appear so weak that you can't even do something as simple as clean the gutters to an elderly shinobi's home that has earned their rest. Another knock on the door. Karen pokes her head in again. More runts waiting. Konohamaru crosses his arms petulantly. I'm not leaving until we get a cooler mission. You'll leave with a D rank, or I'll throw all of you out of the window without a mission at all. For emphasis, Tsunade casually opens one of the windows and enjoys the slight breeze that wafts through. We'll take Tora, Ebisu states decisively. Sensei. Very good. Naruto throws the scroll to him, hiding a smile. He remembers Team 7 being assigned Tora whenever Kakashi had been particularly annoyed with them. Good punishment for annoying students. He approves. No. Konohamaru freezes in place. Naruto makes a gesture with his hand, lifting a calligraphy brush with a juvenile use of his Rinnegan powers, and begins making a crude image on the boy's face. He sees Tsunade facepalm in the corner of his eye. The boy is released from his jutsu and immediately lunges red-faced while his teammates giggle. Ebisu grabs him by his scarf and drags him away. We'll return as soon as possible, Naruto-sama. Good luck. Naruto bids them. As soon as they're out and the next genin shuffle in, Naruto pushes the intercom button and leans into the microphone. He puts on his mastermind voice. Kill them. Screams of panic erupt in the hallway from the genin. The only thing that could be heard through the noise were Naruto and Tsunade's evil laughter and the Junin trying to calm his genin. Karen barges in suddenly, looking very annoyed. This is so damn boring. I don't know why I volunteered to be your assistant. I want a mission. Let me see what I can do. Naruto shuffles the stacks of C ranks and B ranks. Wait your turn. Another impetulant genin scolds. Gold chains sprout from Karen's back and twist around threateningly. The genin promptly keeps his mouth shut. We've scheduled a protection mission to Yuki no Kuni. Commissioned by a movie director. To protect their lead actress. It'll be you, Sakura, a Junin called Yamato and Team Oto. How's that? Sounds divine. Karen sighs happily, wanting to get out and about for a change. Karen leaps over the desk and tackles Naruto to the floor. Quote. Be safe, Karen. It's a dangerous world out there right now, especially if you're marrying Uchiha Naruto. I will, don't you worry. You know I can handle myself. I know. Naruto sighs. It'll be nice to spend a week or so without my ball and chain. She cuts him off with a kiss. I love you. Karen whispers. I love you too. Naruto smiles back. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.